So one of the things we help people out with often is probation violations. A probation violation is when you have terms and conditions ordered by the court that you're told to comply with, and for whatever reason you don't follow those terms. Some of the most common reasons for probation violation is a dirty test for drugs or alcohol when you're not supposed to consume those things and you test positive. The second most common reason to violate probation is because you don't report to your probation officer when you're required. I often tell people if you're on probation and you have a choice between losing your job or going to the probation department and reporting to probation, you should report to probation because once you're in jail on a probation violation, you'll miss all the work. The bottom line is if you got a probation condition, you should follow it. The third most common reason people violate their probation is because they pick up a new criminal case. And the important distinction here is if the new criminal case is what we call an infraction, that's like a speeding ticket or something that can't put you in jail, we can make that work into not being a probation violation. If it's a misdemeanor or a felony that's a new charge, that unfortunately will violate your probation. So one of the things we can do is try and get the misdemeanor down to an infraction or hopefully make the felony go away completely and keep your probation active. So the consequences of a probation violation can be as little as what we call a revoke and reinstate. That's our goal where the judge says, hey, because of what Mr. Lear told us in the hearing, we don't think he should do, or she should get a penalty for this. And they just say, okay, go and sin no more, my son. The most severe form of a probation violation is on a felony, you can actually go to prison. And you can do something less serious than a prison sentence. They can give you between 1 and 365 days in jail as a result of a sustained probation violation. So common defenses for probation violation, frankly, is to do your best to teach your client or my client to fix what they're doing wrong. I actually had a client about 12 years ago who had 7 probation violations. The probation officer was so upset with the client, he wanted to send him off to prison. I think it was 12 or 13 years, I forgot which. My client basically had a drug problem. So what we did was we sent him to Salvation Army for 180 days. He successfully completed the program. And 3 months after he did that, he was doing so well on probation that the same probation officer who wanted to send my client away to prison for a decade or more actually started referring me clients that were not doing well with him as a probation officer so I could coach them into doing better. Another way we fight probation violations, frankly, is sometimes they use presumptive tests for the drug tests, and the presumptive tests are not as accurate as confirmatory tests. And we know the reasons why. You'll test presumptively positive for some kind of drug when you didn't actually take one. Common things are like cold medications. Some people who have alcohol testing issues will use mouthwash. There's actually over 150, I think it's 183, different types of over-the-counter medications that have alcohol in them. And we want to show the probation officer or the court that the reason you tested positive for some substance was hopefully because you didn't really take the substance because of a false positive. The other thing we want to do is if we can get you back on track with reporting to probation, catching up on your fines and fees, we want to focus on doing that so the probation officer is happy and get you back on track. When you have a probation violation, sometimes you're on what they call an executed sentence suspended. And what that means is at the time you were sentenced by the judge for a felony conviction, the judge says, hey, I really want to send you to prison, but I'm going to give you one last chance. And if you violate probation when you're on this executed sentence, under the law, the judge is supposed to send you to prison based on what the sentencing judge did originally. It's very important. The stakes are high. You could have 9, 10, 12, 15 years over your head with an executed sentence suspended over your head versus a normal probation violation. The probation officer makes a recommendation, usually a number of days in jail or potentially a prison sentence, but the judge has much more flexibility. If you're facing either a probation violation or an executed sentence suspended, either way the stakes are high. You're facing potential years in custody and you need help. So come contact us at Strongest Defense and we'll get you through this process, get you back on the right track.